show.
Mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up, and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys will come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there. He's punching me in the stomach, like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Chico can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad Jones. 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Chico can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the Spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
You heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her and smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Good show.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it?
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like, they should all
Players. Look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now.
Hello. Welcome back to Mic'd Up. Today is Friday, November 1st. I'm in my non-casual Friday attire today. We are at our new home of Indigo Papers. We're excited to be here. A lot to talk about. A lot of stress-free football viewing this weekend because LSU is on their bye week before their big matchup next weekend against Alabama, which they opened up today as 2.5-point home underdogs, which I think is a good thing for LSU because historically in the past, recent past, anytime they are home dogs, they've performed well. You can go back as close to as I guess near or as recent. That's the word I was going for. As recent.
Don't simplify it too much.
Yeah, as recent as the Ole Miss game. Home dogs. obviously ended up winning. Last time they were home dog was Alabama 2 years ago. They ended up winning. So we shall see what happens with that. But we have a lot more to talk about. Great slate of college football games throughout the course of this weekend. Great slate of SEC football games through the course of this weekend. We're going to get into all of that. Our friend of the show, Bryce Kuhn, sitting in the on-deck circle waiting to jump in on the show. He's going to talk everything LSU, everything college football, everything gambling, because he's one of us, and he likes to gamble, and he likes to talk gambling, and we are going to give all of his picks, all of our picks, and we're going to talk about the Mik'd Up parlay, trying to go for 2 straight weeks to make this the 6th Mik'd Up parlay to hit throughout the course of the year. That's right, 6 of them. We've hit 5. Technically, I've hit 6 because last weekend I accidentally bet 2 because there was a miscommunication that I heard from Jared on a game that he had picked that he said he didn't really want, but it worked out because they both won. So I thank you, Jared, for allowing me to win 2 parlays.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thursday night football, Jets were playing the Texans. Jets were at home against the Texans. Jets were favorites. People were kind of curious about why they are favorites or why they were favorites. Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, they finally got off the schneid. They win their 3rd game of the season at home against the Texans team that is has been known around the NFL as being one of the better teams in the NFL. And Aaron Rodgers in the second half started to kind of pick it up and felt like he's starting to knock off some of the rust. Missed some throws early in the game that he would normally not miss. But they ended up scoring enough points. I think 23 points. They ended up winning the game. Garrett Wilson made 2 outrageous catches. One catch, people are comparing it to the OBJ catch, which we'll talk about through the course of the show. Outrageous. I think it's getting the outrage, but I don't know if it's getting the attention that it probably deserves because it was very similar to OBJ's catch all those years ago. So shout out to the Jets. Shout out to Cayenne Pepper and Water because apparently that's what got them off of their losing streak, and that is what is maybe propelling them into a nice little winning streak. We shall see. In LSU news, Jacoby and Guillory officially announced on the Jordy Collab show, Lloyd. That's your show.
That's right.
Officially announces on that show that he will be coming back for his 6th season. I think that's a huge pickup for the defense for next year. Now that fast forwards to the question, does that mean that Harold Perkins is going to follow?
See, Harold Perkins, I can't answer for.
No, I know, and nobody knows that.
Jacoby and Guillory, Alexandria connection here.
Oh,
made a little.
Did y'all
there's
talk
a lot
about
of
that?
businesses in Alexandria
Did y'all
that
bond over that?
Absolutely, 3-1-8.
That's good. I'm happy.
3-1 great.
I'm happy for you.
Got another one coming in. Running back.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
JT Lindsay.
We do. We got Alexandria
Pipeline
over there. Yeah.
Not just a circle.
They talk about South Louisiana. I don't know. Alexandria's got a nice little pipeline too.
That's right.
But that's big news for LSU. Obviously, you're not going to see the benefits of that until next year. But good to hear that. Obviously, this college football weekend is a big one. Ohio State at Penn State is the headliner. College Game Day will be there tomorrow. It is the big noon kickoff. So you get the 3 versus 4 or 2 versus 3, whatever it is, ranked matchup in the country at 11 a.m. here, our time, 12 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to wake up, and if you're younger and you went out on Friday and you're just kind of dragging an ass a little bit, there's no LSU game, get up, drink some coffee, eat some breakfast, maybe some cold pizza, and watch this game because that's going to be a good one. We're going to talk about that one. And then the A&M South Carolina game, to me, is very interesting. A&M obviously coming off a big emotional win against LSU. And then now going on the road to South Carolina against a defense that is really good, against a South Carolina team that feels like they should have 2 more wins than they do. And then Ole Miss at Arkansas, also kind of a tricky game there. So without those, actually, we'd be remiss to not finish off the Heineken headlines with the last little bit of baseball conversation. The New York Yankees, epic collapse.
Blew it.
Epic collapse in Game 5 of the World Series. And they obviously lost the World Series. The Dodgers are World Series champions. And Mookie Betts, 3-time champion, Shohei Ohtani, went there, got paid all that money, won the World Series with the Dodgers. So much deserved to L.A. Very unfortunate for New York because you felt like after the way that game started, Aaron Judge hit the homer, 5-0 in the fifth. You feel like they're rolling. Garrett Cole was throwing really well, and the wheels fell off. Epic collapse. Not great. But now they get to go out and enjoy Cancun or wherever they're going to go and have a good offseason.
Coach, I'm surprised you still got the shirt tucked in right now.
Well, it's too long.
Let's see it.
It's too long.
Let's
I
see.
tried. I was thinking.
I didn't realize it was still tucked in. I'm like, I'm surprised he still got the shirt.
I was
tucked in
gonna, but it's like very long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That works.
That looks fine.
It works. Okay.
Tucked in. It's J. Mitch workout special.
Yeah.
Jim
I
Mitch-
tuck it all in.
Hey, you know why?
And up.
You get sweaty and it gets like, whatever.
I tuck it in and pull it up like I try to go,
Yeah.
past,
Go
past the navel.
This does feel better. This does
course.
feel better. It's a long shirt. I don't really. It's like it's like the real golf shirt where it's like long. You don't
You need
love
some
it.
room.
Yeah, I don't love that, but it is what it is. It was at a work day. I had to work this morning.
Yeah, you can't wear that to
And-
game day.
and
Too
so-
long.
Oh no. I have to wear the ones that can be untucked.
Yeah.
Untuck
Untuck it.
For sure. Untuck it. Without further ado, though, let's get to our guest. He's been waiting patiently with his beautiful baby. Does he have his baby with him?
Yes.
Beautiful baby, Bryce Kuhn, friend of the show. Welcome to the show. Let's talk football. Let's talk LSU. And introduce the world to your beautiful baby.
Yeah, what's up? What's
Wow.
up, fellas? Yeah, we got sweet little Addie here, and
Gambling savant.
about 2 minutes before you guys just put me on camera, just threw up all over herself. So that's one of the great things about fatherhood. You just kind of get to,
That's amazing.
you kind of get to just roll with the punches. This is my third shirt of the day. This is her second outfit, and we'll have to change again because she's headed to the LSU baseball scrimmage this afternoon.
Sweet.
So yeah, we'll check that out this afternoon.
Lights were too bright
And then,
for her.
Oh, she looks
she's
great.
just staring at the camera.
I thought
She looks great.
Yeah, I thought she
Yeah,
was
she's
beautiful.
doing well.
Beautiful baby.
Thought she'd be used to the camera with all the gambling picks
Yeah.
she makes.
Nothing wrong with getting it out before and then getting on
Yeah.
camera and ready to go.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
Yeah, you get the pregame nerves. Is that right? And then what
That's
it is,
it.
like, if you're not nervous, you don't care.
That's
she
it.
obviously cares.
That's it.
So, no, yeah, happy to be on, fellas.
We obviously got your hands full, so let's get to some of this conversation. Oh, she's tired.
She wants to make some picks.
We have obviously LSU's got some time off, the bye week, right? What's kind of going on through the week? What have you heard with the guys in the around the locker room? How are they approaching this off week? It's different than the off week they had earlier in the season because they weren't coming off a loss then. They're coming off a loss now, and their season's kind of hanging in the balance. What's the feeling right now in the locker room?
Yeah, no, we had to take her over to the toys. She's good now. But yeah, she was going to talk and give her thoughts. But no, you mentioned it. I mean, look, Brian Kelly talked about this after the game last Saturday, and I think fans maybe took a little issue because he was a little nonchalant, I think is the best way to kind of put it, like about what happened. I mean, it was pretty much a nightmare performance in that second half, and you could talk about the offense in the first half as well. But overall, I mean, you have a group that is really just understanding the opportunity they have in front of them, and then kind of going forward, you have no margin for error. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing we've heard from the players and everything, and even Kelly this week is like, there's no margin of error. Your back's against the wall. You get 3 out of the next 4 at home. You hope you can benefit that. You go on a road to Florida where Florida has shown some signs of life. That's still a tough place to play. I think it's going to be a physical game, but you should win that one. So you have everything in front of you that you want still. You just don't have that margin of error, and you kind of shot yourself in the foot, which I know has become for LSU fans, it's kind of become a common theme in their eyes over the past 3 seasons under Brian Kelly. But, all the big game Brian Kelly talk and whatever you want to mention about it, I mean, this is a situation where, bottom line, you have to win. You got to win out, like Jackson Dart said a couple of weeks ago in Tiger Stadium, and you kind of have to figure out what your identity is going to be going forward, because if you can't run the ball, Garrett Nussmeier has to play better.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, right? Like he's, but you talk about Garrett Nussmeier having to play better, right? I think he knows that. The team knows that. Throwing the ball 52 times is not the recipe, I think, for any quarterback to say, I got to play better, right? When you throw 52 times, you're putting the ball in harm's way a lot more often than you probably want to. Everybody talks about, every good football coach talks about having to have balance and having to have a good running game, and LSU has yet to find that. It feels like they've kind of had spurts of that throughout the course of the season, but have not been able to sustain that. And sometimes it feels like they kind of give up on the running game a little too early in the games. Do you kind of feel that way too? And is there a way, or have they talked about how they're going to try to generate more of a running game?
Yeah, we had this question posed on our boards the other day, like, could they do it out of different formations? And I'm not going to claim to be some elite X's and O's guy, but I think that it's really hard to not reinvent, but change things up in terms of what you do so drastically this late in the season. Like, you kind of are who you are to a certain extent. Now, can you get better? Can you tweak some things? Yeah, you can, but I think fundamentally it's going to be really hard for this group to just change the nature of who they are. This offensive line's elite at pass pro. They're not very good at running the football and getting downhill and being maulers. For whatever reason, it's just not the case. And then obviously you got to keep an eye on the health of Garrett Dellinger. I mean, if that's a guy that can't go, you've got another young player in Paul Mubinga. So that's kind of where A&M really attacked. I imagine we're going to see that, next week when Alabama comes to town, of attacking the two young guys in the interior, Mubinga and DJ Chester. So how much can you really change? I don't know. I mean, you've got to get these guys involved. You've got to get creative with it. But as far as just lining up and running the ball against somebody, they're not able to do it. I mean, it's just flat out that they can't do it to a even respectable amount, I would say. I mean, at times they can, but against good teams, they've struggled in that category.
So, I mean, getting, I guess, a little away from just the LSU topic, we are entering week 10 of the college football season. And it's that time where that conversation is starting to come up about the playoff picture and how it's going and where it's at right now. In your mind, not necessarily for you to give me your playoff picture, but is there any team that is either that's in that top 12 right now or right outside that top 12 right now that before the season you had them either pegged nowhere near there or pegged at a much better spot at this point right now?
Yeah, no, I think a really, really good example is probably BYU to a certain extent. And apologies if you're asking about just a specific SEC team.
No, not at all.
But, BYU to me is a team that,
I know you're gambling. I know you're gambling background
anyway. Yeah, every single year they have a great opportunity, I would say, whether they're playing the Mountain West, now they moved to the Big 12. But it's just been one of those things where it's every year or so they stumble in a game they shouldn't. And so far to this point, I mean, they're unblemished. They look very solid defensively. I think offensively they have questions when they play against a team who is really good offensively and can score points. But outside of that, I mean, this is going to be a team that is going to challenge for that Big 12 title. And the Big 12 race is something that I'm going to keep an eye on. BYU, Iowa State, Colorado.
Say it.
I mean, they're in it, and I think it's cool. Like, I think it's really cool to see a team that was among one of the worst in the FBS level 2 seasons ago to be challenging for that spot. So a lot of things I like about that Big 12, but I have to say BYU for me has been a nice little surprise. I'll just say this, that's a bucket list item in terms of me going to a game there. It'd be a lot of fun, but we'll see what happens.
Do you
see what happens with this kid too?
You talk about the Big 12 and how everybody's still kind of in the mix. SEC's got the same thing. Feels like the Big 10's about to go through their own little carnage right now through the last month of the season, and they're going to start battling for the championship and who's going to be winning that, who's going to be in the championship. People were kind of worried about the 12-team playoff. They're worried about the transfer portal, and they're worried about NIL. It feels like that all of those things has kind of made football or college football a lot more interesting, a lot longer throughout the course of the season. A lot of teams have more chances even if they have 1 or 2 losses throughout the course of the year. Do you feel that same way?
Yeah, I mean, I think to a certain extent it has allowed for better conversation deeper into the season. I mean, for example, like you've got Alabama and LSU playing next weekend. That's a playoff game in November. I mean, typically it would be already, but I think it has its ebbs and flows of being good at times. Like this upcoming weekend, Penn State, Ohio State. I talked about this on my show the other night. Ohio State still has a crazy outside shot if they lose this game, but the fact that this is a playoff game, this is what you want. First November to start playing those elimination games. So it's been cool to see. The G5 level, I think, is starting to maybe get a little more noticed, and maybe we could talk about that. Like, We just talked about Tulane like earlier, like big win for them in terms of going on the road to Charlotte. But why is it a big win? Because they need style points. Because now they're a 2-loss team, but if they win the American, which is largely the most competitive G5 conference, maybe they have an outside shot if Boise State stumbles again. Liberty lost. There were probably more eyes on that Liberty Kansas
You got Army.
State game
You got Army.
as people start to see the score.
And Navy.
Army. I know Navy got pummeled, last week.
Yeah,
but
you got Army.
Navy. So I think it helps out the G5 teams in terms of just exposure and people watching those Wednesday night, Thursday night games because, hey, we could be watching a team that's going to sneak into that 12 spot. So I like it. I think Alabama and LSU, Ohio State, Penn State was always going to have that label, but you're starting to see other teams really rise to the occasion. And Jared, kind of to go back to what you're saying, another team, Indiana. Like Percy Netty is awesome. It's so much fun. I mean, the guy said, "I win. Google me." I mean, how do you not love it?
And he does, and he's backed it up.
Hey, he's been like very, very. He doesn't mind bringing it up again and saying, "Yeah, I said it. You could look at it wrong. It is what it is." He doesn't care.
No, I respect that.
Yeah.
Lloyd, you got one?
Well, he turned around to Elon. They were like winless the first 3 years he goes there. They win 8 straight games as soon as he gets there. Like he's got the resume to say whatever he wants.
Yeah.
But you talked about the 12-team playoff, and it's fun to have these lower level schools, I guess, involved because you don't ever get the Indiana story if this isn't the case. But there's already whispers of a 16-team playoff. Do you think that kind of makes it lose a little bit of its luster in the regular season? Because for the 12-team, it still worked out where LSU Alabama is now a de facto playoff game, which it always has been. That's something that you don't want to see change. But if you move it to 16, I wonder how that becomes if you start to diminish some of the regular season for the postseason. Because I think that's what makes college football special.
No, the regular season, the pageantry of it, it makes it matter more. I mean, I'll just be honest with you. The 2 games that have stood out to me that I've been to in person this year, LSU, obviously Ole Miss, and then LSU at Texas A&M. The question is going to be begged, will those games matter as much in terms of to the fans if you do expand it to where that A&M LSU game doesn't feel like a de facto playoff game? Now, it wasn't. Both teams would have still had a path to the playoff. But to your point, I mean, let's take this week, for example. I mean, this upcoming week, I should say, LSU, Alabama. You don't have to hype it up any more than it's Alabama coming down to Death Valley. Like that, it is what it is. And for your diehards, they're not going to care whether LSU's 5-6 or whether they're 10-0. Like no one's going to care about that. But to the outside perspective, to the casual college football viewer, I think it could be harder to say, you know what, I've got to be on my couch to go watch that LSU Alabama game because the loser's out and it's over. Whereas maybe with a 16-team playoff, I mean, I think there's a possibility, maybe not this year, but in coming years with the 12 team, that you can see a really strong case for a 3-loss team. With a 16, teams, you're going to see it. Like you're going to see a 9-3 Georgia, a 9-3 LSU, a 9-3 Alabama, but depending on that strength of schedule, get in at some point. So to your point, it could water it down a little bit. But then also kind of the payoff of it, Lloyd, is, there's a situation in the ACC which is crazy to think about. If Miami and Clemson win out, SMU could win out. They got a big game against Pitt this weekend in Dallas. They could win out and not make their conference title game. Therefore, you could have an 11-1 SMU, 8-0 in conference, not make their conference title game. And they're going to want a shot. Now, their resume not strong enough that people are saying right now to maybe get into a 12-team playoff. Right. But in a 16-team, look, they did what they were supposed to do. It's just when you get rid of divisions, this is the kind of stuff that happens, I think, in terms of tiebreaker rules, which is a whole other conversation.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you're bringing this up because this 12-team playoff has come at a time where it is crazy with the portal and the kind of competition that is now spread out among things. I think we can all sit here and say that at this point in the year, it hasn't played out like anybody ever thought it would. And let's be honest, year to year, that's pretty much how it happens anyway for the most part, right? But there's been some losses in spots to where one more loss, you may be looking at a team that we thought for sure would be in a 12-team playoff. And because of how things have gone in other conferences and where teams are, you're not so sure that a 2-loss Tennessee get in. You're not so sure that maybe even a 2-loss Georgia get in, depending on what else happens in this conference, what else happens everywhere else. Like if there is if A&M wins out and LSU wins out and they play A&M for whatever reason in the thing, and now there's a 2-loss Georgia team sitting there and there's an LSU team with 2 losses that was in a conference tournament and the conference championship and an A&M team, and now you got a 2-loss team like Ohio State sitting outside in the Big Ten. Who's to say that for sure that Georgia team would get in over the Ohio State team? Like it's kind of crazy where this thing is, and I think it's making the noise even louder, and we haven't even really started talking the picture yet.
Yeah, I was talking the other day with Peter Burns of the SEC Network, and we talked about this because he was mentioning just like how, and obviously he's in the SEC Network, the ESPN side of things, which people, if you don't think that has a driving influence and who's going to make the playoff, just look to last year and what happened to Florida State. So it does matter. And he was talking about how the scenario you just described right there, Jared, is the exact definition of why we're going to keep seeing it expand. It's going to go to 16. Maybe it hits 24. I mean, I don't think they're going to get to like some ridiculous like 64 teams like in obviously you have in March Madness. I don't think it would go anywhere past 32 just because of money and wanting regular season games. But every single step of the way, you're going to keep having these conversations. Before it was just who's the the number 4 seed between seeds 4, 5, and 6. Now it's going to be who's 12, 13, 14. The more you keep expanding it, the more opportunities you allow, which is going to give more inventory for the ESPNs, the Foxes, the CBSs of the world to be able to put primetime games on during the holiday season. And look, all eyes will be on the games regardless of how many teams you have. That's why everyone watches March Madness, and it's become such a not just a fan favorite, but a betting kind of has surrounded that. And the same thing can happen here in football. So to your point, this season is going to be crazy. A lot of things we didn't expect are happening, and a lot of things maybe we thought we would see aren't happening. So, I think it's a perfect example. If Ohio State loses on Saturday, what does their resume look like? And now you're going to have, Team A, Team B, Team C, and you're going to have to go through it. And I'm glad I'm not on the committee because there's going to be a pretty dang good football team left out, as there would be no matter how many teams you had in this thing, it feels like.
But that noise between 9 through like team 15 right about now, when we get to the end of this thing, it is going to be loud because there's going to be a really good team with a resume that you're like, I can't believe they're not in.
Well, and here's another thing I want to add to this, because I do believe the SEC and Big Ten, and we've seen the conversations about this new Super League or whatever, and the SEC and Big Ten are like, no, they don't want that. They instead, I fully believe they want more guaranteed spots. So what's going to happen? Boise State goes 12-1, wins the Mountain West. It is what it is. But what happens the year that the G5 representative is a 9-4 conference champion? And you've got a 10-2 Ohio State, right, a 10-2 Alabama, and 10-2 Georgia, who's like, well, we're a far better team than them. Why are we rewarding them just because they, they play lesser competition week in, week out? That's going to happen at some point. Like they're going to have to default to the best G5 team because, as we see, the better G5 teams are moving up to the Power 4. So at what point does that qualifier spot become obsolete, I guess would be the word.
Yeah. Well, remember we talked about this earlier. Saban brought up early in the year, and I do think they're going to find a way to quantify it and put it into the sport. But that strength of competition is going to become a loud conversation, and it's going to become something that you're going to have to be able to measure teams and team schedules by to be able to give you the opportunity to make it something that I can look at that's not just a judgment thing to say, hey, this number is higher than yours. Yeah. Sorry, you go. Because, like you said, one of these G5 teams, as opposed to a 11 or 10-3 or a 9-3 LSU team who's had this and this and this loss on the road playing here, it's a little different.
Yeah, and especially when you get not just the strength of competition, but you get into the margin. Like, let's say you have a team, because we've seen plenty of teams lose four games by combined like 12 points. Well, what if your a G5 team's gotten blown out by two Power 4 teams, but they won all of their games? Like, that's awesome, but I think that's also a way that you could see, and not that I'm necessarily a fan of it, I think it could be cool, but a G5 only playoff, like, I think you could see that at some point. So there's a lot of factors that go around in this, and I just, like you guys, I think we're all kind of on the same page here. We just need data points, and once we get enough data points for this 12-team playoff, now we're going to evolve into something different, because the sport constantly changes and constantly evolves.
Before we get into the gambling conversation, one more question getting back to the LSU talk, right? Because I know a lot of our listeners want to know these answers. Garrett Dellinger came out with a high ankle sprain is what they were announcing. You have any updates on him? What the prognosis is? Is it worse than they thought? Is there going to be some sort of surgery, or is it just rest?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's no secret. There's been some rumored reports that it did require a tightrope ankle surgery, which I feel like guys were just hearing that type of surgery so more.
Right.
Maybe it was before we just didn't know the terminology. We're just hearing it so more often now. Like, so it's just kind of guys. I think regardless of whether that's true or not, when you have a high ankle sprain to a guy that is look the size that Garrett Dellinger is, I mean To me that's concerning because when you are having to plant your feet in the ground and withstand a pass rush and against a team in Alabama that maybe they're not as good as they once were, but they still have some dudes up front that can move you.
They're as good as once as they ever were,
though. For me. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you know what? I like that little country music here for you on Friday afternoon.
I'm not as
so
good as
all those things, all those things that go into it. To me, it's really a key component to what happens next week because is he going to be ready to come back? I don't know. I mean, if it's surgery, I don't imagine so. A very good example has been Georgia's guard Tate Ratledge. He had to have the surgery, I believe, in week 2 or week 3. And he's just going to be probable this week. The SEC updated their injury report for this week against Florida. So you're talking about a 7 to 8 week span. Now, look, I don't know if that's the exact issue or injury that Garrett Dellinger has, but I do think it's a situation where you got to monitor it. If it's a high ankle sprain, there's still concerns. Is a 60% Garrett Dellinger with a high ankle sprain, is that better than a 100% Paul Mabinga? I mean, I don't know. Nothing against Paul, but look, we saw in that game against A&M, like the Aggies, they picked on it. And I think those guys can be really good, in the future. But DJ Chester and Mabinga are the weak links of that offensive line if Dellinger can't go. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see how things fold out with that.
The next one I kind of want to talk about and bring up is Chris Hilton. Obviously, hasn't played the whole year, comes back his first game, is a little rusty. Are we expecting a big jump in game 2 after obviously getting some game experience, being at that pace, and then getting another week of rest a little bit, but the actual right kind of work that he needs to be able to get him game ready and get him up to speed? Are we expecting kind of a big jump in his play next week?
I'd like to see it. I mean, this is obvious, and, coaches are going to be coy about injury reports and everything. I mean, Lane Kiffin lists like 72 players every single week on the SEC availability report just because he can. I mean, that's just what he likes to do. And some coaches are going to keep it coy. I mean, this is obviously something deeper than just a bone bruise for Chris Hilton. I mean, I think people who are close to the situation, they're aware of it. It's way deeper than just that. So to the point of what we're talking about with Hilton, we saw him in spurts in College Station. He looked good. He looked comfortable at times. But I think to unlock the full potential of the offense, you have to have him. And you talked about getting the rest. Like, I don't know, Jared. I mean, I know you and Mikey, you both have played, your respective sports at a high level. At some point, you have to have the game reps. Like, you can't keep practicing because you can't simulate what it's going to be like on the field against Alabama. So I don't know how much more of, hey, let's do this walkthrough is really going to help him. And that's why it was so important for him to get on the field, and people kept talking about it because no one expected him to have a breakout performance against Texas A&M, but you needed to see what he could do and how comfortable he felt in the game speed. Like, not practice speed, it's totally different, but in the game speed. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know to what extent. I mean, Brian Kelly talked about this was a rest recovery week. I think for a large portion of the roster, you need that. For Chris Hilton, though, I think you need to push it a little bit because this is it. I mean, this is really the home stretch for him. I mean, you've got to figure out what he can do, and is he going to be a pivotal part? Because if not, I mean, I've talked about this multiple times. Losing C.J. Daniels in that game against Texas A&M hurt them terribly. He is not a guy. Look, C.J. Daniels was electric at Liberty. And I'm sorry to get off the question here, but I'll bring it back. C.J. Daniels was electric at Liberty. He doesn't have to be that at LSU. What he is I think, an elite possession receiver who, with his back to the end zone, can get you some clutch plays. And they were missing that. They've got the home run threat in Aaron Anderson. They've got another elite route runner in Kyron Lacey. But they needed the guy that probably has the best hands on the team in Daniels. So when you get away from that and you haven't really had Chris Hilton, the underutilization of Mason Taylor is still something that puzzles me. I mean, I'd have to really go look at the film. But altogether, if you can get Chris Hilton back in the fold, it gives another weapon. If not, teams are going to take away Aaron Anderson. They're going to try to take away Kyron Lacey. And then you're going to be able to have to force feed Mason Taylor. C.J. Daniels isn't healthy. And that's where Chris Hilton could really open up this offense. Because when they had success, they were spreading them out. We saw a couple of those drag routes, those skinny post routes to Chris Hilton. He looks good. I mean, I'd love to say that he could go for 7 and 115 and a touchdown against Alabama. Tiger fans would love that. The staff would love that. But truly seeing him out there and knowing how he's recovered would be a question that I think we have to ask Brian Kelly next Monday when we open up the presser.
You mentioned C.J. Daniels. How's his recovery going? Is he going to be able to be
available?
Not even just available, but like a guy that they can count on, because he was there, 2 catches, got hurt, came back out, right? Like they don't want to be able to just throw him in there and game plan for him, right? If he's not going to be able to sustain, have significant playing time in a game.
Yeah, it was a knee injury that had sidelined him before and kind of flared back up, and I think there's just some tenderness and some swelling for him in terms of this. There were rumors that he had got the knee scoped just to clean some stuff up. We had heard the same as well. So obviously anytime you have that, you have to worry about scar tissue. You have to worry just about, like I said, swelling and just tenderness around the knee. In a game like that, I mean, he obviously tried to go out there and test it, and it just wasn't 110% for him. He obviously felt something. So I think that you have to have him in this game against Alabama. I mean, offensively, if you can't run the football like we've talked about, you have to have your full disposal of weapons in the passing game. Like you can't be shorthanded there. So if he can work himself back, like I guarantee you, this is a guy who he's going to try to play. Like it's not whatever. Like he didn't come to spend his last year of college football just to sit on the bench and not try to power through an injury. So I'd expect to see him, probably maybe questionable early in the week and then maybe move to probable. We'll see. Like I said, those injury reports I feel like are more just entertainment purposes than really anything else.
Here's a question because we're talking about it. When does the college model of the injury report start to mirror what you kind of see in NFL football at this time? Because, gambling's super prevalent in it, and that's a big reason as to why the NFL got the way they got, where you have to be as transparent as you are. When does the college model get that way? Because they're not very far in terms of where they are gambling and what things are going on, but the injury report that you have to put out is nowhere near the same.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is another one of the oversights of the NCAA, not making something uniform that everyone has to follow. I mean, obviously here in the SEC, we have a media or an injury report that has to be submitted by Wednesday. Then you get an update on Thursday, you get one on Friday, and so forth, so forth. That's been nice. This is the first year of this because it kind of allows you, one, if you're on the betting side of things, like you get a good gauge, and we've seen lines move in terms of that. Right. And then, but elsewhere, like the ACC, I know, for example, doesn't have that. And so you've got coaches that'll sit up on podiums and be like, well, he's day-to-day, he's day-to-day, he's day-to-day. It's like, okay, well, you said that for 5 days in a row. Like, what is the injury? So, Jared, to your point, we know media runs this, and I think the gambling world is going to become more involved than it is right now in terms of college football, and money drives things. And so, as we continue to evolve in college football, could it become a standard, thing across the entire FBS level that you have to submit one by Wednesday night at 8 p.m.? Sure. And then you got to update it every single night until, obviously Saturday morning. We could see that. I've enjoyed that in the SEC just in terms of from a media perspective. I know some of my buddies have enjoyed it from a betting and gambling perspective of having that. But elsewhere, it's a complete crapshoot, and you don't know what you're going to get. So to your point, yeah, they probably need to streamline this. But once again, you're relying on the NCAA to do something, and anytime you put it in their hands, who knows?
Takes a while.
Who knows
it takes
what
a while.
happens?
Yeah.
I was just going to ask, I don't know if y'all just talked about this, but does C.J. Daniels have another year of eligibility left after this?
We did not talk about that.
Okay. That's just what I was reading about. Because he had this is what I wanted to ask, but I heard the NCAA and Streamline, and I was like, maybe they're talking about it right now.
Lloyd said, I don't know if y'all just talked about this.
I was just reading about C.J. because I think it would behoove him to come back because I think he wanted to come to LSU and do a 1 year, go to the league after having 10 touchdowns at Liberty. But he started off in 2020, so that would be a COVID year. I don't know if that counts. And he only played 4 games in 2022, I believe. So that there's a possible case for a red shirt there. I'm just wondering how the math works
By
out.
the way, Lloyd's a huge proponent, if you didn't know, for staying another year to get you more experience.
No doubt. Well, listen.
I got a question about Garrett Nussmeier, too.
I would love C.J. Daniels to come back next year because you'd have an experienced guy who's been on the field for a long time. Obviously, Hilton is experienced, but hasn't had a ton of it. He's been banged up. That would be a nice pickup if he came back. If he could.
Yeah, no, it would be. I'm looking right here, Lloyd. So kind of what you were saying there. His true freshman season was 2020. That's that COVID year. His redshirt freshman year was 2021. He played in all 13 games. 2022 was his redshirt sophomore year where he played in 4 games, had the injuries like you talked about. Junior was obviously a big year, and then you have this one. So if he got the, I really don't know how this works. Like, do you have to be designated as a red shirt, or can it just say, hey, I didn't play more than 4 games, like I just automatically get that? Or is that something the university has to designate on you? I have no clue how that works.
Well, did they?
So, I think theoretically in that situation, he couldn't have one more year.
Didn't they? Didn't they
that's
change
just
the
reading
rules
them.
though? Like, didn't they change the red shirt rules as far as like games played? Has it always been 4 games? I think.
Yeah, it's 4 or under. I'm pretty sure. Like, if you play 4 or under games, then you don't.
Yeah, I thought,
you
but I thought
qualify for a red shirt that year. But I'm not.
I thought there was some gray area before that. Like, I think that they clarified that at 4 games, and then you can get red shirt. I just didn't know if there was gray area before that, and then when that.
It used to be
happened.
if you just played, you burned your red shirt.
Right, but yeah, I guess you're right. I just don't know when they made those changes.
Yeah, what, Jesse Daniels or Travis Daniels?
Travis Daniels.
2 years ago, maybe a year ago.
Well, right, that's
something
what I'm
like
saying. So
that.
if it made
post-COVID,
yeah,
I know they made it.
right. So if 2022 the rules weren't there, then it wouldn't matter.
Well,
I don't know.
You could make a case for it.
Yeah, you can make a case. You can argue it.
Hardship.
All right, let's talk.
I mean, you got Alan Bowman and Cam Rising, on the
Bowman.
job watch.
You got
I mean,
McCormick.
so
you
what-
got
what they're
McCormick at Miami, who's on his 9th year at tight end.
Cam's
9.
Cam Rising's the quarterback coach at Utah. If y'all didn't know, I don't know if y'all knew that.
Oh yeah,
He's not.
No, I know, but he is. Might as well be.
But he might as well be.
But
I don't
McCormick.
even know if he's a real person at this point.
No, McCormick's a 9th year senior at Miami, which is wild to me. But
So what was his first year?
he was at Oregon. It was like 20.
It was 2017. It was 2009, I think. His first year.
It was 2017.
2009, so I was 12.
It was 2017. 2017. How wild is that?
That's ridiculous.
He played against LSU 2018.
Ridiculous.
He did. He did. All right, let's talk some money. I don't know how much time you have left. If you have to go.
Yeah, baby's crying. I got about
Okay.
a minute or two.
No, you can go. You can go. Give me your top 2 bets, and I'll let you go as for the weekend.
Okay. All right, I've got I talked about it last night. I mean, it's already gone. I had took Tulane -14.
Love it.
Obviously, that cashed in on the road. Another one I've got is Navy in a bounce back opportunity. -11 at Rice. Rice just fired their head coach.
Yep, on that.
So I like that one. And then those were my 2 really big standouts. I will tell you this: the Florida line, the Florida Georgia line is dropping, and
He's going
it's
opposite.
started at 18. I've got it at 14 right now. I don't know. I think Georgia's a really good team. I think Florida's tough, and I imagine you guys have never been to that game. I've been to that game a couple times. Bad blood, rivalry. Both teams seem to play above themselves. So 2 touchdowns. I don't know. I mean, I could see Georgia with a backdoor cover late. I just don't think Georgia's going to blow them out.
Jared,
but that's my big one. Navy -11.
History says different.
at Rice.
Jared likes the -15 there.
Yeah, history says different. I got it at 14.5, but I still like the 15.
All right. So
Okay.
there you go.
Bryce, dude, we appreciate you. We'll have our gambling conversation. I don't want to keep you from your crying baby and doing your take.
Unless you
your dad
don't,
duty.
I got you, brother.
I mean, we can keep. You can stay on as long as you want. I just, I'm being respectful of your.
Well,
your
the
child.
wife's got a little monitor in there, and I can guarantee you the sound, barrier thing's going off at work, and she's probably freaking out about what's going on. So
yep.
I'll,
Go do it.
I'll
Enough said.
join you fellas next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you, dude, as always, and have a great weekend.
I feel like that's the perfect opportunity to not have to take care of the baby. Like,
Well-
babe, I'm working.
No.
I don't think that's how it works. though.
Yeah, that's not how that works. Not how that works. I get it. Listen, I understand where he's coming from. I don't like from experiences, but from being an uncle and seeing from the other side of it, you know what I mean?
Nope, time to go.
Get it? Yep. I understand. The baby's the best excuse ever too.
Yeah.
Can't go. Can't get a sitter, so I can't go.
We got the
So if
baby.
you don't want to go, got the baby. Or I gotta go let the sitter out so you can leave early. Or sorry.
Baby.
Baby's just a mess.
Bad.
We
Sick.
can't do it. Can't do it. Yeah. They're beautiful, beautiful people, beautiful creatures.
Yeah, creatures.
But great excuses too. All right, let's talk our gambling conversation. I wanted to ask him. He talked about the Iowa State and Big 12 stuff. I love that Iowa State game. They are playing Texas Tech. That one's just that's a unique one to me. I like Texas Tech and to cover in that game. I'm not saying they're going to lose, but I like Texas Tech to cover in that game. Lloyd, give me some of the games that you like. If you've seen some, if you dabbled, or if you sprinkled so far. I have, of course. I got here real early today because I was awkward timing from day job and this job, and so I did some work in here, and I just pulled up the app and I do what I normally do and got carried away a little bit. So I have some bets in there that we'll talk about, but I don't know if you had any off the top of your head that you liked.
No, not off the top of my head, but I will have some here in a second after.
What about games in general?
Oh, I think we covered a good bit of them, and some of them we have in our slip because some did pop out to me. But there was what game did you say other than Navy that he said before that? Like, obviously I love the Tulane game, and I'm sad that I missed it because I should have gambled on it. I know, me too. I saw that last night. I was like, damn it. And then I wanted to gamble on the UL Texas State game on I think it was on Tuesday. UL's been good too.
Or once that UL beat Texas State, they won. Texas State was I think favorites. And UL beat them. I missed that one. He had mentioned that one. He mentioned the Georgia-Florida game. I don't think he mentioned another one in between.
Yeah, but we'll get to that one also.
Yep.
But there was a big conversation. See, this is when when I feel relatively strong about the parlays when we all get here and we all have our thoughts and opinions that get brought out into the open.
What I've been preaching to you.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
But it works. It always works on Friday for me. I feel like we really accomplished something.
Yes.
Especially when there's money on the other end, hopefully.
100%.
There is one more that we didn't talk about that I like a lot in this situation, just knowing what's out in front of them. There's 4 games left on the season. Not counting this one, you got versus Georgia, you got at Florida, and you got versus Mississippi State. It's a good chance that there might be one dropped in that situation, so you understand that, one, you probably got the feeling that you need to win out, but you also feel the need to win pretty as well. I like Ole Miss -7 against Arkansas this week.
Yeah,
I like that one.
That's on the surface looks tricky. I think if you really deep dive into it, I think Ole Miss is kind of Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin historically start off hot, lose a game, wheels fall off type thing. But then last year that did not happen. They won 11 games, I think, for the first time ever, and so they are talented enough, and so I think they know they have the pressure on. They know.
And who have the wheels fallen off harder for in the past as well? Arkansas, right? This is the type of games where you come off a win like they had last week where it was pretty emphatic. The ebbs and flows, they go up and down. They don't get stuff done consistently. This is a game where a team like Arkansas would just fall by the wayside. Good teams, really good teams, the teams that are still there at the end of November, the teams that are winning the 9 to 10, 11 games, they're the ones that win these games and come back in these situations. Arkansas has not proven the ability to do that. I think this is when they fall off. Right?
Yeah, Arkansas's running back's out too. So
yeah, that's a big.
I don't know how is their quarterback healthier.
Yeah, he's playing.
He's back. No, I know he's playing, but is he like
he put
on
a
show last
week.
Okay, so he's healthy.
Yeah,
he's back healthy.
But a little caveat to this: the apparently Arkansas has been quite the thorn at Ole Miss's side throughout the times that they've played. I'll go back to, let's see, we can go to 2021. Arkansas loses by a point, 52-51 at Ole Miss. Then 2022 in Fayetteville, 42-27, they take down Ole Miss. And then only a 7-point game at Mississippi, 27-20. So they
which is last week, 27-20. I mean, last year, 27. That's when Ole Miss won 11 games. Right, 2022 is when they collapsed after LSU. 2023, right? Did they have a 10 or 11 win season that year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have back-to-back 10-win seasons.
Yeah. Right.
And that's so points at 7.5. If you feels a little weird, that's probably why. Like you take some of this into account. Where Arkansas plays Ole Miss pretty tough because I think of the way the two teams are structured. Like Ole Miss obviously did beef up their defensive line. Walter Nolan's listed as probable.
Right.
But Arkansas will try to force feed their plan.
Yeah.
And if it works, it's tough to stop. But
half of their best plan is not going to be on the field.
That's what makes a huge difference. Him being out again, which shows that injury was worse than I think people thought it was when it happened against LSU, missing 2 straight weeks. So that's where I'm okay with dropping 7.5 against Arkansas.
I don't mind it.
The other one that I find interesting is Texas A&M's a little bit of a pickle, Dick.
Yep. Listen, they are, and I want to take
South Carolina.
Let me tell you, and this is my growth as a gambler. Okay, this is about my growth as a gambler. I historically in the past, I look at those games and I do it with my heart and not my brain, and I bet on these teams that I want to win, even though if it's a close spread, I know it's supposed to be a tough game, I would take South Carolina because, I want them to beat A&M because of what they did to LSU. I think A&M, I mean, it's going to be tough, but it's 3 points, right? It's 3-point spread.
Yes.
I can see A&M winning by 4. I could see it. I'm not going to touch it.
South Carolina has a pretty impressive resume, except for their home games, which is.
If you ask them, there's 2 losses on there that should be losses.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
And I think they have the front 7 to be able to compete with the running game that.
Cat's out the bag for A&M. It should have been out the bag for LSU. For some reason, LSU was not prepared for the backup that has played.
Well, I'll be honest with you, man. When I look at A&M, the cat really is not out the bag. Everyone knew he was there.
Well, Blake Baker didn't.
No, you knew he was there. You just thought, for whatever reason, LSU just thought that he was no longer going to be realistically in the picture because you brought the starter back and he's gone. So now, but they have the ability now to really play back and forth and kind of do what they want. So it should have never been as bad as it was last week, but it still doesn't make it easier trying to have to prepare 2 different game plans for 2 different quarterbacks, and you don't know who you're getting. Like, you legit don't know who you're going to get this game. Like, let's be honest. I'd be shocked if you don't see a strong dose of Marcel Reed, but you don't know how much you're going to see of him this game.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say.
And they're both competent enough to where you could do the inverse of what you did against LSU, where we didn't prepare for Wegman. He comes in there and throws it 12 times, 10 of 12.
Which would be wild.
Right.
They have I would pull my hair out.
That's my point. Like, it's not as easy of a situation as you would think when it comes to putting that game plan together for him this week.
It's Jarrett Lee,
depending on who you are.
Jordan Jefferson, all over again. Which one are you going to get? Maybe both. Maybe
both.
neither. Maybe one.
No, you don't know.
Andrew Hatch.
You don't know.
But South Carolina's played, like I said, I think they're still waiting for that one home game pop, or they haven't really had it yet. They've had opportunities, obviously, against LSU. They fall 36-33. Ole Miss comes to town. You throw a dud, 27-3. Then South Carolina, Alabama at Alabama, 25-27, and they smoke Oklahoma 35-9. I think this is probably going to be an upset circled on a lot of people that are gambling. That's what kind of loses the appeal. But 6:30 at night. South Carolina, Sandstorm, they're thirsty for an SEC win.
And South Carolina, as Jared has talked about, is a good place to play.
And they finally got a big one at night there too, so it's another thing for them as well.
Yeah, because I think that environment is thirsty to prove like they should win. Be who they are.
We say that there's gonna be a lot of upsets. The handy dandy website that we got from our gambling experts that shows you where the money's coming in. Says it has 92% of the money is on A&M.
Makes me want to go the other way.
The last time you looked at it, or
no, it's 84% of the bets.
Okay,
92% of the money.
Damn, that's a big jump from the last time.
What happened?
No, 84% of the bets are on A&M. 92% of the money is on A&M. So both sides on A&M. But staying on that, right? The big game of the day is Ohio State at Penn State, right? Ohio State favored by 3 points on the road at Penn State. Over under 47. I like the under in that game. I've taken it already. I've put it in the queue, and I've gambled and I've thrown some dollars on it. I do like the under 47. I think Penn State has been historically defensively oriented. Obviously, their offense is better. Ohio State's always historically had a good defense, and I think that Ohio State's offense isn't quite as explosive as it has been in the past. They can score some points, but not as explosive.
Who you got?
Who do I think is going to win that? Yeah.
Got him stumped here a little bit.
I think, you know what, Penn State's been beat a lot. I think Penn State's going to beat them. I think.
Who do you got in this one?
I think Penn State beats them.
I mean, it's just
which means you would take the Penn State +3.
Yeah.
It's a funny matchup between two coaches that absolutely love to shit the bed whenever it becomes like the master class.
You're alluding to where I'm going on this.
Between Ryan Day and James
100%.
Franklin, where it's like you would want to be able to bet on a coach in this scenario. Ryan Day might.
Which quarterback do you trust best more? I think. Which one?
I'm gonna be honest with you, neither. But for me, that's not where this problem is, or where this game is won. I know. Go ahead, finish what you were saying, but like that's not what I'm thinking about when I think about this game, this particular game.
No, I think it does come down to, for Ryan Day, he is absolutely coaching for his life at Ohio State, and I don't think he should be. But to turns out that he is.
So
yes.
we're pretty aligned on this. I think this is a spot right here where, and I'm not saying like after the game, I'm saying that you take this L and you don't make it into the playoffs with as many times as it's been rumored. Huh?
He's gone.
As many times as it's been rumored, like you have got this $20 million payroll on the squad. You brought the allure that you brought in all these transfers. You don't win this game, yeah, I think it's done for him here. Right. So I think this becomes a huge game for that team, and obviously him understanding that this is a without a doubt must win on the schedule, especially because we already dropped one this year.
And so you think they win?
I think Ohio State
because of those reasons.
Because of those reasons.
See, I think because of those reasons, I think they lose. Because all of those big games that he's had in his past that have mattered, and you got to beat Michigan, you got to do this, you got to do that, he has not won those.
I wonder where Lou Holtz is
now. I think the more pressure he puts on himself to win those, he loses it.
Here's my question, though.
I think that's what I think. And it's on the road.
Here's my question, though. We've always said that, or not we've, it's been said that those games have been, he has to win those, they matter. He still got his job, so he obviously didn't have to win those. I think this is different. Yeah. I think this is completely different this time.
Because he hasn't won any of those that he was supposed to.
That's that point. He hasn't won any of those games, so I think that's why his games is online.
It's been must-wins because they've been saying you can't win these, but I don't think that the noise has been anywhere near, hey, you might lose this job now.
Of course not.
And I think that's where it becomes a little different for him in this situation.
Of course not, but he just, to my mind, yeah. I mean, that's fine. I think they win, and it's going to be a good game. 3 points. I definitely like the under. I like the under. I like the Ohio State on this side, yeah. Okay. What other ones do I like?
They've given me an egg already, though. So
Vanderbilt at Auburn's weird. Vandy's the dogs.
Ryan Day has lost 9 games as a head coach at Ohio State. Every game has either been to Michigan, in the college football playoff, or now to Oregon. Like that's where
so is Penn State ever on that?
No, I don't think so.
That's another reason why
it's 9, but I'm pretty sure.
That's my point. That's another reason why too. Like
Oh, now you're dropping this one too?
Yeah, we play chess. We play chess with him, and I've been whooping his ass in chess the entire time I've been here.
If he would not spend so much time maybe dyeing the beard, like maybe let's look at the playbook. That man looks like a mannequin. It's unbelievable.
I'm telling you, dude. Like we said, like I just before we even move on from it, I think there's a lot to it. Like this is a huge game for him. We've seen you lose playoff games. We've seen you lose Michigan games. We ain't never seen you lose this one. I think it's time. So I think that it weighs a little heavier for him in this situation.
I'll tell you, I'm not betting that. I'm not the only money I'm putting on this game is the under. So who am I gonna win? That's just for the show, not for the bank account. Not on the betting world.
This is still a Penn State team that, USC walked in there and should have won.
No doubt.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt.
Like I think that offense is better, without a doubt.
Right.
I don't think it's as top tier as what people have made it seem like it's been this year.
I don't think Ohio State's offense is great either.
No,
it's going to be. That's why I think it's going to be under.
But if I think about the playmakers too, like name me a playmaker on that side.
Right. On Ohio State, the whole receiver core.
There you go.
Right.
I feel like they got more guys. Will they get a chance to do
I think I think more talented. They're more talented than Penn State.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Get tight.
I'm riding the Army train. I am taking Army, Air Force at Army. Army is still undefeated. They're favored by 22 points, I think. I'm doing it. I'm taking it. Air Force got obliterated by Navy earlier in the season. I think a similar line. Navy ran away with that. I'm going to take Army in that one. Also like Illinois against Minnesota. I think Minnesota's favored by 3. Told you I got a little carried away.
Yes.
Virginia Tech at Syracuse. I took VT on that against them. And then we talked about the Vandy at Auburn, right? Auburn's favored by by a touchdown, I think.
7.5.
7.5. I haven't touched it, though.
That's another spot where I'm surprised you've been on the Vandy train.
I have been, but
Auburn has played teams close. They haven't been able to score, but their yards per game is like in the top 20 of the country, which is crazy. They just can't get in the end zone. They turn it over.
Vandy's played the best that they've played. The teams that they've played best are at home. When they've played them at home, they're on the road at Auburn. So, what do y'all like in that one? Do you like that one?
I would fade that one. I don't love it. It's something about it just feels and smells fishy, and I can't get on to that one. Like Vandy's played so well in all these situations. Is like you said, the best they've played has been at home. But are you just sure that after the loss to Alabama in that situation, that they're just like, yeah, you know what, we can't do it anymore. All right, let's move on. Or will they continue to keep the train going, knowing that they still have an LSU in front, knowing that the season's not over, knowing that they could probably put out the best season you've ever seen from a Vandy team. So like that's where I'm at on this one. I would fade this one.
That's what shot. I think a lot of people are looking at the spread and a little bit surprised too, just because of the Vanderbilt talk, and then you go, oh, Auburn doesn't feel like they've been very good this year, and then but Auburn's given up 7.5, but it feels like Vanderbilt, the ranked team, is better.
Right.
That's one of those same thing that you saw last
Vandy's
night.
maybe getting a little disrespected still. That nobody believes in Vandy yet.
Exactly.
You know?
And it's the same thing as like last night you saw Texans Jets, and it was the Jets -2, and a lot of people were like, oh, I'm hopping over to Texas. Like that's a classic trap.
Yep.
Like if it looks wrong and it smells wrong, it probably means
And
you're
Clark
wrong.
Lee's doing a good job, which is the Vandy coach. He's doing a good job of really selling hey, like this is no longer
old Vanderbilt.
This ain't old Vanderbilt. Like this is you come here for these big type of games, and he's been able to sell that to this team, and it seems to me that they're buying it. So being able to get a chance to play a meaningful game in Tiger Stadium again would mean they need to win this game.
Yeah.
So I just I'm not on it enough to put it on. I would fade it, but I don't believe the line that's out there right there.
I'm not betting this next game I'm talking about. I just want to ask y'all's opinion on it and what you think, and if y'all are gonna sniff it. Oregon at Michigan, 14.5 points.
Not
Oregon's favored by 14.5.
What's the spread? What's the total?
44.5.
God,
I have
Oregon
not
really
touched-
did something about putting themselves in the B1G. Like it feels like they've kind of dumbed down the offense into how Big Ten
They
football
fit right
plays.
into it now.
Yeah, but it just slows them down. It's not as much fun to watch because I don't think Oregon's offense is very good. And it used to be like Oregon, speed everywhere. Now they just get stuck in the mud. But Michigan's terrible. I don't know they seems like they're more focused on recruiting than anything else at the moment. And you have a weekend where they're adding a ton of recruits. Obviously the Bryce Underwood smoke is there, but that's why Sloan and company are going up to Belleville today.
So you're not sniffing that game?
No.
I'm not sniffing it either, but and the crazy part is I do think it gets. I wouldn't be shocked at all if I opened my eyes and I saw that it was a two-digit win. It was a 10-point plus win. I'm just not sold that it'll get to 14.5.
Yeah, me either.
But if I think it'll get to 10, I'm like, I'm not really touching.
If you asked me where I had to lean, I would lean towards Michigan covering. For some reason, that's what I feel. I'm not touching it. I am not betting it. But if you said, hey, you had to pick one. For the sake of the show, I would pick Michigan covering 14.5. But I'm not going to pick it.
Yeah. I mean, 14 is a good amount. It's like the right amount of points.
Yeah,
because,
well, of course. It's Vegas.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but I'm just looking at they keep everything within 2 scores.
Yep.
Now, this game is
I couldn't do it with a good conscience. Be like, I got Michigan
That's what I'm
tonight.
saying.
Yeah, like,
but then at the same time, if it was 31-21, you'd be like, oh, they got the ass kicked.
Yeah.
And it would be right, too. So
Yeah, but you covered.
You covered. But what if it's 35-21?
Right. Or 42-10, which it could be too.
Yeah. So, that's where
That's
I'm
a stay away.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I might bet it.
This next game, in my head, just missed putting it on this parlay.
Oh, just missed the sheet?
I love Texas Tech at Iowa State. 13.5. Like, I don't know why.
Who's getting the 13?
Iowa State's favored by 13.
Favored by 13.5?
I mean, they're undefeated.
They're still undefeated.
Yeah, and they're ranked 11th in the country. Texas Tech can score. The over/under is 56.5 in that.
I kind of like the over in that.
Yeah, but I like Texas Tech covering that 13.5. Also, I say just missed. Indiana's really the one that just missed for me. I like Indiana 7.5 covering at Michigan State too.
Why does Indiana keep getting disrespected like that? They can score and they'll run it up on you too.
And they've shown you they can score both quarterbacks.
Right.
Signetti, I'm not betting against him.
No, he's bet on him though.
He's won me over.
I'll bet on him. 7.5 is not that many. And it's always around 7.5. Like for Indiana, there's like don't really know what to do. Let's put it a touchdown. Then you look up and it's 52-6. Indiana scored a boatload of points. Like oh damn, missed another one.
Yeah.
Yep.
They did that last week basically.
Let's put up our parlays. The mic'd up parlay of the week for week. What week is this?
10.
Week 10. Mic'd up parlay for week 10. We are 5. No.
Well, we haven't done it every week. Remember, we started like week 2 or 3.
No. We started on not week 0. So we started. Was it week 2? We started week 2. Yeah. So we've won 5 or 6. Is it 5 or 6? I think one. It doesn't matter. Okay. we're going for 2
5
straight.
or 6 with only 2
5
losses.
or 6 with only we have 3.
3
losses.
Is it 3?
Yep, 3.
3.
We're 5-3.
We're 5-3. Exactly. We're 5-3. We're going for 2 in a row. Let's throw it up there and show everybody what we got, and then we'll talk it through.
Boom.
All right. I am riding the Navy train.
Boat.
The boat. You're right. Good point.
Yeah.
I'm riding the Navy boat. Did not. It was a great avoidance of the of the Notre Dame game. I knew, I really wanted to because I wanted to believe in Navy, but I thought better of it.
You're a better
Obviously,
gambler.
It was a good idea not to do it. We did take the over though. That would have hit. All right, it did hit. I like Navy minus 11 at Rice. 11 points with the way Navy has scored throughout the course of the year is not that many. Rice has not been good to the point where they fired their coach. I know everybody's going to say, oh, well, the fired new coach thing, interim coach, first game interim coach, that kind of makes a difference. Navy's disciplined, and they are focused, and they are locked in, and they are 11 points. I like it. I like them winning by 2 touchdowns. Navy is my pick.
And to back this pick even more, I feel like Navy, while just coming off a loss, I feel like they still Army-Navy still looms large, and they still want to be in the conference championship in that game, and then want to play them again if they have to.
Yep.
But it's not like the season's lost for Navy for what they've done this year. I think this is a great buyback spot after a Navy loss where they get drummed by Notre Dame.
Resilient.
Yeah, but because of how that game ended up points-wise, I think that's why you're getting at 11 and not 14.
And because of how they played it, too. It was just
Turnover after
some
turnover
goofy
after
stuff going
turnover.
on,
Yeah. So that's my pick. That's my leg of this 3-leg parlay. Now, this is honestly the lowest odds we have of the year so far. Plus 581. Still good odds. But plus 581. What do you got, Lloyd? You got the next one.
I do have the next one. The next pick that is on the Mik'd Up parlay is Duke plus 20.5 against at Miami. This has nothing to do with Duke as much as it has to do with Miami and a little bit of Duke now that I say it. But Miami, every game has been close. They feel like they could have lost 2 or 3 games this year. They've, like I said, played everybody close. Doesn't matter who it is. And then Duke, legitimate defense that I think if you can just hold Miami to 35 points and just be competent, I think getting 20.5 gives you an opportunity to cover, not so much win. But Miami is flirting with disaster. And when you have Cam Ward, I know for everything that he does well, there's also a little bit of turnover magic in there also. So if Duke can get one, I don't think Duke has Miami's attention at this point because they're undefeated. I think it's a good upset spot for Duke, but sprinkle in an extra 20.5, and I feel real good about Duke. So give me Duke at Miami.
Now, obviously, completely different teams, right?
Play style-wise?
Didn't Duke and Miami have a crazy game? Was it last year? Or they did not play last year? They did not play last year. Never mind.
But Duke 6-2, not bad.
Yeah, not bad. I, for some reason, thought they had a crazy game with Miami. But, no, look, they're 6-2. They lost in overtime to SMU, right, 28-27. And they lost 24-14 to Georgia Tech. They probably wish they could have that one back. Not great. They haven't really played a ton of competition, but they don't give up a ton of points.
Yeah, the one that speaks to me and kind of why I made this pick was holding SMU to 28 points with overtime.
Yep.
I feel
they
like
don't give up a ton of points.
And SMU scores a ton.
Right.
So,
yep, I like it.
Give me the Blue Devils.
I like it. All right, third one.
I'm going to go with the Georgia Bulldogs here. Sitting at 50, and I know a lot of people are sitting there and say, man, that's a lot.
Some people can get a 14.5.
You could get it at 14.5. That may be gone.
By a point.
That may be gone at this point. You may not ever get that back right now. But if you're getting it at 50, and I still like it at 50, and I know everybody's sitting there saying, man, this is a huge rivalry game. This game's crazy. We actually just had Bryce talking about the same thing. It does get crazy. But one thing people don't understand about this game is you got to go back to 2011. Last time there was a ranked Georgia team facing a unranked Florida team, and the game was decided by less than 20 points when Georgia gets the win. And that year, that was a number 22 ranked Georgia team against a Florida team. It wasn't that good team. That was before Kirby was there. It's not the same type of team. Also, put a little extra in it because I feel like behind doors, Kirby likes to be spiteful. And Kirby now has Jaden Rashada on his squad, who, if you're forgetting, was the former quarterback at Florida who has the big lawsuit against Billy Napier right now. This is a spot where I think Georgia kind of reigns supreme, continues to insert themselves, continues to show everyone that they have not gone anywhere, and I think they get it done again.
And to the spite play, Curb was there when Steve Spurrier was running up that clock, running up that score on him, throwing reverse passes when they were up 40, and I don't think that sits well with old Kirby. So a little Georgia-Florida.
Kirby
that
does
rivalry
everything
means
right.
something.
He does it all right outside, but I can tell indoors, within his team, he don't have a problem sticking it to you. And I think this is a spot where he's going to look to do it.
He's the one that said, "Why don't you go ahead and sue Florida? No skin off my back." Yeah,
they tried to take the game from us. So yeah, I got Florida. I mean, I got Georgia in this one.
I like it.
I do. I feel.
That is the mic'd up parlay of week 9.
I was nervous whenever he was talking about this game beforehand. We all thought he was going to take Florida, and I was like,
I did too. And I was like, "Whoa!"
And this is right before the show. He's like, "Put it in." I was like, "I'm around with Jay because he doesn't miss."
Yeah.
And so, but I was like, "Damn, I really wish he would take Georgia." And then he's like, "No, give me Georgia." I was like,
Well,
"Oh,
he also talked about he really tried to get sharp on us.
I want that game.
He tried, and he almost convinced everybody to do it, and I would have done it. I would have listened to him. He almost took Oklahoma at Maine. The under.
Maine at Oklahoma.
Maine at Oklahoma. The under.
Which is 46.
Which is 46 points. And, no, we don't know anything about Maine. We know that they're not great. And we know that Oklahoma has no offense and everybody's hurt, but they have a really good defense. So,
sounds like the recipe for not a ton of points.
Yeah.
I like that.
At least for Maine. And I can't see Oklahoma scoring 40-plus points.
We have to come with some defensive touchdowns or something. So,
yeah.
If you like that one, too, go ahead and throw it. It just missed. The mic'd up parlay.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna let you know.
Like
it was razor
literally
just missed it. So.
Yeah. So that's our parlay. I'm
the second
excited.
card.
Listen, I did on the side, and I shouldn't have done it, but I needed something for Friday, and I did throw some money on Boise. I'm just gonna ride that wave. It's a lot of points, but I did throw a little sprinkle on there.
Yeah.
You know, why not? I needed a game to watch.
Do you have him to win the Heisman? You might as well do that too.
What are the odds for that?
Futures. Let's see.
I mean, I'm sure they're not good anymore. I mean, I'm sure they're like.
Whoa, not bad. Plus 500.
And who's the favorite?
Travis Hunter at plus 180. Dylan Gabriel at plus 270.
Yeah, that's.
Cam Ward at plus 300. Ashton Genty plus 500. Cade Klubnik at plus 1400.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's been playing well.
He has. He's been running. Shador Sanders plus 3,000. Garrett Nussmeier plus 5,500.
I'm not touching that, obviously.
Obviously.
I think.
Whoa, are you one of those guys that said he should be benched?
Easy. With that, we're talking about Heisman. You're talking about benching. I'm talking. About Heisman.
Are you one of those guys?
Completely
are
opposite.
You closet? What?
No, definitely ain't winning the Heisman though. I mean, it's unless he throws 7 touchdowns against Alabama.
He could go on a tear if he
no
beats
doubt.
Alabama.
I just think that what he's done up to this point, you've seen it. I mean, Leonard Fournette had a historic season, had one bad game against Alabama, and didn't get to the Heisman. Didn't even get invited.
If he has one good game against Alabama.
But he had a whole good season. Nuss had a bad game last game, second half. But
yeah,
not saying anything about him. I don't think he's doing Heisman.
Yeah.
And you know it. You're just trying to,
I don't know why he's got. I mean, Jackson Dart's in front of him. I think Nuss has played better than Jackson Dart. He's played better than Drew Eller.
Who?
And Jalen Moreau. Drew Eller is what I call him, but I think it's like Eller. But he's also reportedly has been hurt, but wants to give it a go in the Ohio State game. I don't even want to watch Penn State, Ohio State. I know I'm supposed to.
I'm watching it.
I just don't like the.
I mean, what else are you going to watch at 11?
That's what I'm saying. It's probably about the camera angle in the stadium, and it's just a little odd. I feel like they're just not supposed to be there.
I'm watching it.
I'll watch it.
I'll watch it for
you. You got a lot of energy. Being called.
Gus is on the call.
All right, I'm
beamed up, ready to go. I'm ready.
All right.
Do you think he's on like a 24-hour like no talk before like a big game like this?
I don't know, but I feel like Gus goes to bed. He has to go to bed at like 7 on Friday nights, right? To bring the energy that he brings on a Saturday morning, every single time, Gus is ready. Gus himself is must-see TV. Let's be completely honest.
And this is where he shines. Like I know people want to see him at night, but a big game like this, give me the Gus. And yeah, I think he treats it like Christmas, where he wants to go to bed early, wake up. I can't wait to do this game.
Hell yeah. But that's what you want.
It's not fake.
That's what you want in the booth.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you could have who's on Marv Alberts No, not Marv Alberts. Who's on the
Trev?
Thursday night? Oh, the older gentleman with Kirk.
Al Michaels?
Al Michaels.
He likes to do the opposite.
Oh.
He said, if you pop early, like, when do you ever get back to that? And he's like,
I like Al too.
yeah.
Al's got the voice for it too. He's good.
Yeah,
More
I like
tells
Al.
you the story.
And I like Al now. As he's gotten older, he just comes at you.
Apparently, Al's like the Godfather too. Everybody knows Al does what Al wants, and that's what it's gonna be. And I
He
respect
said
it.
steak at halftime in the booth.
respect it.
Yeah.
5-star everywhere. I
yeah.
respect it.
The day you tell me I can't, I'm
Al
walking out that
decides the
door.
attire too.
Uh-huh.
I respect it. Okay, Al.
Bob Costas retired. Speaking of,
Unfortunate.
And that, I mean, I think it was time. He was very boring. Bob Costas thought he was still in the 1940s calling baseball games,
That sounds.
and didn't bring very good at what he does. You know, he's been doing it for a long time. I think 45 years.
He's been doing
calling
baseball for a long time, too.
45 years
Yeah.
he's been calling baseball, and he did not bring baseball. At its core, isn't super exciting, like fast paced. So the announcers have to try to make certain things exciting. He did not do that.
Yeah, but there is a play to be made.
Yeah, when there is excitement to be had, he did not have it.
No. That
This
is
season,
crazy.
He
I
was
mean,
getting ripped.
he was almost got forced into retirement.
He was getting ripped.
Yeah.
Well, he did. He retired.
No, so I'm saying I don't think this was. I don't know if he would have if it didn't go down that way.
Oh yeah, maybe not.
I think he saw like Jesus Christ. Never mind. I don't even have to do this for you people. Fine. Like if you hate me,
I
that's
got
fine.
10
Yeah.
Joe Buck wasn't on the call this year, right? Postseason.
No.
He doesn't do baseball anymore, right?
No, Smoltz and
Joe Davis.
yeah. I was thinking Rosenthal, but it's not Rosenthal. Yeah, Joe Davis.
Ken Rosenthal's on the field.
Ken Rosenthal. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a squad.
Ken Rosenthal looks like a right prick, doesn't he?
Ken Rosenthal is like 5'5".
Yeah, he wears the bow tie on the field, and it's just like these guys don't want to talk to you.
5'5".
They need like a real former MLB baseball player down there on the field. Not Ken Rosenthal.
Jess Mendoza.
You're out of control.
Great at her job.
You know, yeah, that's what they want. Anyway,
Don't put the camera on me. I ain't got nothing to do with this.
anyway. All right, what do you got this weekend, Lloyd?
Oh, big trip to 8-Town.
Nice. You're
Yeah.
about to head out that way, huh?
I am. Running away from
What,
the weather.
hour and a half drive, 2 hour drive,
Like 2:20.
2:20.
I wish it was an hour and a half.
Boring drive.
Not with me.
What?
Everything. Put the cat in the car.
The cat entertains you?
Yeah, let her roam free. Sometimes get under the brake, under the
Does
gas.
she get up on the?
Yeah, it
dash?
makes it really hard to drive.
Oh my god.
Does she really get underneath your left feet?
Uh huh.
That's dangerous.
Smart.
It is. But I'm
Then
not
Then
tired.
you get in a wreck and now all of a sudden your cat's dead.
Yeah.
That would not be good.
Wouldn't be my fault though.
That would 100% be your fault.
She's got insurance and a credit card.
Oh my
Your cat.
goodness.
Uh-huh.
You opened up a credit card on your cat's name?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Run it up.
Good for you. Good for you.
Thank you.
She'll get audited, you know, see what happens.
Died in a car crash.
Jay, what you got going on this weekend?
I got a big birthday party to go
Hey,
back
whose
home.
birthday?
It is Roger Green's mother, Miss Marilyn
Raj.
Green. It is her birthday.
Nice. Raj coming in from Colorado,
Yeah,
obviously.
he's already in town. He's
Okay.
already in town. So yeah, we're gonna go back home tomorrow afternoon.
Back to the
Birthday
Berry.
party. Yeah. Enjoy
Oh.
the birthday party.
Love that.
So-
I will be in Baton Rouge. Potentially, maybe going with my father-in-law to our houseboat, watch the football games out there. Just me and him. Nice. Nice trip.
little-
But problem is, weather is a little nasty, windy.
Yeah.
Don't want to be driving in the boat out there when it's all a little, you know, you're getting smacked in the face by.
Yeah, it's
some
when I could
weather.
go inside.
Yeah, right. Like not great. So
You know, like doing this on the boat the whole time.
well,
Motion.
that and then
Motion.
the boat's just falling this way and then this way.
That's
and
what
then
I'm
get
saying,
Smacked
yeah.
in the face with rain and shit. No, I don't want to do all that.
You're not trying to do all that.
It would be fun. It's very relaxing out there. Maybe go fish a little bit, but looks like that's gonna be another weekend maybe. So other than that, just be watching football, hanging out around the house, which is nice. Nice to not have any plans set as of now.
No weddings this weekend.
Oh, because I hadn't had a wedding in a minute. I hadn't had a wedding in a long
This
time.
would have been
It
a
means
weekend
like-
for
like
it if
6
there was
weeks
going to
maybe.
be, yeah.
No, I hadn't had a wedding. Thank God. No, you said that I'm gonna have weddings somehow gonna pop up. But the next wedding I have, I think, is New Year's, right after New Year's.
But it's almost a little surprising you don't because I feel like people fight tooth and
It's-
nail for the venue of the bye week of LSU Alabama.
It's not weddings now. It's babies and it's baby showers. Or my wife has baby showers. It's like a kid birthday parties. That's kind of what. That's where we're at now.
Nice little. That's right. That's right in the
Yeah.
strike zone these days.
It's my niece's birthday today. She
How
turns
old?
2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything for that?
No, they are celebrating at the LSU game in a couple weeks.
She won't remember.
Hudson turns 7 next week against Alabama.
Wow, what a
He
guy.
said, "Mom, I want a sleepover for my birthday party." So they're having a sleepover on Friday, and they're coming to the Alabama LSU game, tailgate at the party box. You'll see him.
What a
At 7.
guy.
Then he's got a golf tournament on Sunday that I'm gonna go watch. He's a stud. I'm gonna show you his swing.
Nice.
Great. Oh, he is. Holes will follow through. He's
We
nice.
get him
Lefty or
all-
righty?
Righty.
Okay.
Righty.
I'm gonna get them all liquored up at the tailgate and be
Hudson, the
hungover.
7-year-old.
I remember
Yeah.
he had his birthday party at the Alabama game last year when he wore
Yeah, 'cause
the
it was
Maverick
all-
outfit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, what did he wear?
So
he wore
great.
Top Gun Maverick. He wore that. He brought him on the
Sunglasses,
field, the whole
everything. It was great.
deal. That may have been 2 years ago.
That would be
it
Alabama
would be
2
2
years
years.
ago.
Whenever it was,
Yeah,
it
2
was
years ago.
Halloween weekend.
Because it was 2 years ago because
LSU won.
they won and we
It
were
was at
going
home.
to see Pete on the field.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So 2 years ago, but yeah, he will be there and having a good time.
What a guy.
What a guy.
Not many people can say they tailgated LSU Alabama and played a golf tournament the next day and lived to tell the tale. But
Yeah,
if you're
Mike's-
7,
Mike's trying to ask. Mike's saying, "Hey, he got golf tournament at 2 at the island."
oh, this is like kind of a jaunt.
Yeah, and so he's like, Mike goes, "How about we play some golf in the morning?" I'm like, "Mike, it's Alabama game, coach."
Yeah, I'm not gonna be ready for that.
Maybe, but maybe not.
Island's tricky. You got to be able to control the ball here.
Well,
You can't
he's
spray
7.
it.
He's 7, so his tee box is way up there.
Yeah, no, but it gets tighter on the greens.
Yeah, you gotta be. You have to get some good hands.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just
But,
saying, if he's gonna get frustrated,
We'll see.
so maybe Papa does need to see the lay of the land first.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hit your drive here. Maybe we hit 5 wood off the tee. Lay back a little bit.
I think the driver will be all right. I don't think he's gonna reach the water.
Maybe 3 iron.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna reach the water. Let's keep the driver in the hand. You know what I
Let me
mean?
caddy for him.
Yeah. No, I don't think that'd be a good idea. He'd be running around. You wouldn't be able to hold him. It wouldn't be good. All right. That's all we got for you today. Enjoy this beautiful weekend. of
I do have
college-
one mistake of the day.
Oh, wait. That's never mind. What am I talking about? We got to get to our seggies. Mistake of the day is brought to you by our friends at Dozy Place. What you got today?
And it popped up last night. Little did I know that one Adam Schefter is a man of the people, of the
Hey.
illegal stream gods. He broke this news about the touchdown being not a touchdown. We dropped it at the 1 yard line. I can't play the video because it's the NFL. It technically mesh streams. But Adam Schefter tweeted this clip out. Top left of the screen tells you what website he's using. And they're like, this man makes $9 million a year, and he's using mesh streams.
Did somebody call him out?
Oh, yeah, there's articles everywhere.
What did he say?
He had no comment at this time, and neither did ESPN. And then they just came out with a report that said he didn't use mesh streams, and that's it. But also, shame on you, Adam Schefter, for putting this out in the world, because this is a site that a lot of people depend on that don't make the kind of money that
Now,
you make.
Well, here's my question.
And now you're going to ruin it for everybody.
Here's my question.
Did he-
Now, he could have gotten a screenshot.
Right,
Right?
exactly.
Like, it wasn't, he may have not taken
So that
the
tells me he's
screenshot.
not watching the game.
No, that's telling me that he's just taking somebody, he's maybe watching it, but taking somebody else's work, so you don't have to go rewind and screenshot the game.
Right.
Do your own work.
That's a better argument.
Okay, and that's fine. I don't believe he's watching meth streams.
I do.
I
All
do.
the
I know
evidence
you
is
do.
right in front of you.
You actually want that to be the thing.
I just wish you. I mean, if this is the way we lose it, they're already working on another one. We had crack streams, rest in peace. Now we have mesh streams. I don't know what the coke streams will probably be next. We got plenty of drugs we can name this after. Like we got time.
That's terrible.
But Schefter kind of putting the hiatus on us. We'll see what happens on for Red Zone on Sunday. That's what I use.
Meth streams.
It's a great site.
That's a lot of attention to your site that you don't need attention to.
That's what makes me nervous.
Yeah. All right, that's a good mistake of the day.
It's my
Tough.
first time hearing of the stream too.
Me
by the
too.
way. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh, I've heard of it from him.
That's
I've
my
never
first.
used it, but I've heard of it. Because it's one of those things, a million pop-ups.
Yeah,
You gotta,
Jerkmate
like,
is prevalent.
You gotta try to like get out of the pop-ups, and then whenever he puts it on there, the top says Jerkmate,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh boy, we're not on a good. we're not in a
we're
good-
here.
Yeah, we're in a bad website. If that's
Which
the
tells
case.
me Schefter's seen some Jerkmate. That you
here
can't
we
avoid
go.
it.
Oh my god. You're out of control.
Oh, that's not. We're not doing that.
Oh.
All right.
Shefty, you pervert. You
got
dog.
you got a curtain call too. Curtain
I
call brought to
do.
you by our friends at Perkins and McKenzie.
You talked a little bit about the Army game. They busted out some new lids for Air Force, which I thought was pretty cool.
Those are pretty
Little
cool.
skull and crossbones.
Those are cool.
So curtain call to the armed forces, and
So
they
you
always
got
do it
curtain call
big
as a
for.
helmet?
Yeah, just a new uniform.
The new unis. I
Like
like
you'll
the
see
unis.
the new ones for they do a new one for Army Navy too. So you'll see another new helmet that they'll bust out. I believe the Navy does them where they're hand painted before the Navy game, and they get beat to shit, and you can't really see them anymore. But it's cool. A lot of work that just goes for nothing.
Love that.
Nice. I'm going to give a curtain call to. Glad you mentioned last night's game, but I'm going to give the curtain call to LSU's very own Odell Beckham Jr. You know, last night made me realize, even with people talking about it, how much we didn't talk about it today, how much
Yep.
no one talked about it today, as if it was very normal in the NFL. It makes you go back to 10 years ago when Odell made the one-handed catch, and it made you realize that was the time where people started saying, where's the jugs gun? I'm going to go learn how to catch everything one-handed myself because I want to be able to do that one day. So as great as the catch last night was, I personally don't think it was still as good as Odell's because of the movement and the shift that one catch caused in professional football, in college football, in high school football, and everywhere, right? We're going to be 20 years from now, and they're still going to be I mossed them, and they're still going to be
Odell.
I Odell'd them. Right? I think that's what's different. So I'm going to go ahead and give the curtain call today to Odell because I feel like what you saw last night was a culmination because of what he did 10 years ago.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson's probably right in that wheelhouse of when you saw Odell do it.
Yeah.
He was probably
And
like,
Garrett, isn't he from Texas too? So I'm pretty sure. I think he's from Texas. I think he's from
Garrett Wilson?
he's
Is
from
he?
like the Dallas area or something like that.
Unbelievable play. He had two
Unbelievable.
one-handed.
I still don't understand this though. Timeout too, but the catch too, I really don't understand is like if I come down on my heel and my heel's inbound, but my toes out of bounds, that's out. Now, mind you, let me preface this too. Garrett Wilson's on my fantasy team, so I really am very happy
Well,
that they called it a touchdown.
I have-
But if I come down on my heel's inbound like the Isaiah
Right.
Likely catch this year, but your toes out of bounds,
Right.
But how is my shin inbound,
That's the difference.
but my knee's not inbound?
that's a touchdown.
His touchdown last night, the shin was inbounds, but his knee came out of bounds.
Right, because I guess the shin and the knee aren't directly. They're not like the heel and the foot are like.
Oh, because you're saying
Kinda
it's a different body part, so a different body part came out of bounds.
Yeah, maybe.
But they're still connected.
Yeah,
so
but
it's
like I mean,
crazy.
technically everything on your body is connected. But like, that's
Oh,
technically
thank you,
the rule.
doctor.
Huh?
Thank you, doctor.
That's technically.
I'm not
right?
mad about it because I got the points. For it.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
it's a bigger conversation, and obviously the Odell catch is better because he actually caught it. But
I think Garrett Wilson
I'm the reason why I give Odell the better one too, also as well.
better
is 'cause
catch.
I don't think people realize like that ball was damn near
behind
his
behind
head.
him, not
He
damn
had to-
near. Like he
he had to
literally
turn around
his
back.
hand went almost like all to his back to catch
No,
it.
Odell's
This one was
better.
straight, pretty much straight overhead.
It was
Not
cool.
saying that's easier. I'm just telling you that's why I think it's a better one.
and Odell caught it.
agreed.
Because for Wilson, this is what the NFL needs to figure out, and they should have put out like an addendum after last week. If 1 foot hits twice,
Yeah, I never
That's a-
understood. I don't
that's
get
a
that one
catch.
either. But
They
that
don't
one-
do that.
no.
No, but this happened to this.
That's
It's
the
literally the
second
first
one.
2 times I've really ever seen it. It happened in back-to-back weeks. But like the letter of the law goes, you have to have 2 feet in bounds. But 1 foot 2 times does not count as a catch. So like it's kind of crazy how it goes. Like imagine like if you went to tackle me and you held my foot up and I tapped my foot 7 times and then I walked out of bounds, no catch.
No catch.
Like
That one doesn't make sense
That's
to
crazy to me. But that's
If you
what
can
it's
hop your same foot in the inbounds twice, it should be a catch.
I feel like that's harder than the.
That's
2
harder
feet.
than 2 feet.
That's where they should, and that's why I think they corrected this call and said shin, because the 2 feet thing happened again. You don't want that to
I think they
become a
corrected it. It
two-story.
was like, hey, this is another one we could be playing back for another 15 years. There's got to be a catch.
And
figure out something that's inbounds.
This game has
The
been
ankle bone, something.
This game has been such dog water. Like we got to have
Yeah.
something out of here.
Something
that,
pop this thing off. A
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah, I agree with that.
On a
You can't have a catch like that happen, and it's basically obsolete in future because it wasn't a catch.
because you don't know because he got 2 feet of the raw, like 2 of the same feet down.
Yeah.
But shin bone.
um
I can't wait for that to come back into play. Like he got his shin down.
Yeah.
Like
His
no,
shin
that's a
down.
one-off. Don't be
The
don't quote
shin.
me on that.
I was like, wow, that's crazy. Good for him. Though.
receivers are gonna start trying to get their shins down.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Before I get to my curtain call, one note: it's all lining up for the New Orleans Saints to lose,
Uh-oh.
and for Bryce Young to have a good game.
Uh-oh.
Their whole secondary is out, basically. Kool-Aid McKinstry and Marshawn Lattimore just announced out for the weekend. They will be with rookie undrafted backup Rico Payton.
Hell yeah.
Alante Taylor, obviously. Practice squad cornerback Shamar Jean-Charles. And nickel defensive back Ugo Amadi. That would be that's the starting secondary. Bub Means out, also receiver. So just feels like they're setting themselves up for Bryce Young, who looked decent when he came in last week, to go out there and have a good game and potentially fire Dennis Allen.
Rico Payton.
Pittsburgh
State Gorilla, formerly.
Pittsburgh State Gorilla. What a great. You don't hear a bunch of gorilla mascots in college football.
And he was also a Southern.
You
don't.
You would imagine you'd
You
feel
don't.
like that was, but I guess,
Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
He's also a Southern Illinois Saluki. So
Salukis.
That's an all-time tattoo.
Yeah. Saluki.
He's a dog.
My current call, staying on the Jets conversation. Thomas Morstead. Thomas Morstead apparently has rejuvenized the entire.
I don't think that's a word, but we can go with it.
Rejuvenized? Is it rejuvenated? But it was rejuvenized is not it. Energized, rejuvenized, energized.
Rejuvenated.
Just
for
run
sure.
with it.
Rejuvenated.
I'm not sure that's a word.
Rejuvenated and energized.
Yes, rejuvenized.
You just did this with the two of them right there.
The New York Jets, because there is a concoction of cayenne pepper and water that he says, or Aaron Rodgers says, is the fountain of youth. And Aaron Rodgers said he feels great. And he's been taking it, he's been drinking it since Thomas Morstead told him about it. And the next thing you know, they win a game at home against a team that is 6-2, and everybody probably thought was probably supposed to win, except for Vegas. And they go out there and they beat them by 10 points. And he has one of his better games of the year, and maybe he is becoming young. So shout out to the Jets for staying alive. Shout out to Aaron Rodgers for making some throws, and shout out to Garrett Wilson for being young already.
Devontae Adams too, off the
Devontae
side,
Adams
getting in the end
yeah,
zone.
well, then you watch him, you thought Devontae got hurt, and you're like, oh no, because he got, and then I feel like it was a little dramatic. Maybe he stayed face down on the ground for a while.
They checked him for a concussion. So the
I thought they were checking his legs.
No, he
definitely. Okay. I thought
dinged him for checking him for a concussion,
Right.
so he had to actually leave the field.
Because when he landed, I didn't even think concussion. I just thought
he hit it.
Did something happen with his legs?
No, he hit his head for sure. Okay. Probably could have been a concussion, but need him.
But he would score a touchdown after.
Yeah.
So shout out to the Jets for figuring out Mike's secret sauce.
If you didn't like the previous curtain call, here's a great one.
Yeah.
I saw this too.
Kershaw, I saw a different picture of Kershaw.
I saw a different, him standing up
on the field,
on
the field when he was in the video.
Yeah. I saw that.
Oh boy, he.
Hey,
he's been eating good.
I've been in my prime. I was in my prime. I'm not in it anymore. Don't ask any questions.
He's been eating good.
Yeah.
By the way, Thomas Morstead too. Sidebar: one of two players still left in the NFL from the 2009 draft. The other, Matt Stafford. It's the only two.
Wow.
1-2 players left from that draft that are still active.
Wow. Wild.
Morstead,
Right.
Matt Stafford.
Love that. All right. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy your weekend, not the rest of your weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll be back live in studio on Monday from 6 to 8 p.m. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you don't like watching us, you like listening to us, or anywhere you get your pods. If you want to make some money, go ahead and tail us. We have some followers. We have some people that have been betting our bets and been riding with us. We appreciate that. Keep riding with us so we can celebrate on Monday.